Scene/Chapter 20. A rational sense of how things are related. Into the Gene Machine, New Women. EUGH. Bob and Dick approach and enter the first building together with their backup buddies. It is an exotically ecologically designed building but appears to have false windows. As they enter they are greeted by two scientists dressed in white coats, big hipster glasses, and who have a very close resemblance to Bob's two friends in the newsroom that have helped him make his mind up and given him good reasons to pursue his news package. Bob does a double take when he sees them and they give a hearty chorused voice welcome to the ant factory, with both of them giving sweeping one-arm gestures to continue in. Bob stares at them with amazement and they look at each other as if they have food stains on their coats. These two are caricatures of the office staff. Reason invades their minds. They are dressed identically and start to speak and fill in each other's sentences like Tweedledum and Tweedledee. Dick says, "Have we fallen down a rabbit hole and met the two old fat boys thin? We are Siamese if you please," is sung behind them by two lady boys in a Morlem-toned way. The scientists say please follow us and take them through the main doors into an atrium filled with display cases like some sci-fi museum. They are super honest to the point of being brutal in gross descriptions about the contents, with affected grimaces during pauses as they appear to be thinking painfully for the next sentence. Bob says it looks like this is some house of horrors. Bob is getting uneasy as he sees things that appeared in his head projected by his girlfriends when he was investigating and previously pushed them aside as he thought they were too outrageous. They now seem as if they were real. The scientists explain all the fertilized eggs are perfect, all the babies are wanted. There is no wastage. All our theories have been proven to have given us great wisdom. Bob says wastage? Wastage. Ignoring him they go on to say, in the beginning things did not go exactly as planned. They pause, nanotechnology was not tuned and we created a few monsters. Bob says monsters? Then they say off topic, you know, the mainland village is mainly underground. You did no real damage as the explosions only hit the surface service buildings and some decoys. They continue, you see, pointing to a table, we reduced the generation gap by removing and fertilizing eggs from the female fetus. Those have millions of pre-egg oocytes filled with DNA, and from pre-puberty children. We increased human evolution of some individuals by some tens, others by hundreds of times. We now produce humans who would naturally have taken thousands of years to evolve. We are now in human terms past the year 5000 or further on in our evolution. Our results are outstanding. We have truly cosmological beings now. The new kids have no need for the corporate materialist garbage that the world has hanging around us at the moment. Bob says producing, outstanding? This goes beyond any master race, Nazi eugenics or restrictions on cultural or religious intermarriage. He stops, thinks and says, no corporate materialist. Then Bob says, do you know what is happening in the corporate world? The scientists look at each other as if they are missing something and not aware of the corporate takeovers in the world outside the island on which they work. One scientist says, do you mean like Kraft's dog show of genetically modified animals from breeding, or cattle markets that have been breeding specialist unnatural animals for thousands of years? Then Bob says, I am expecting to see some old director of Gandhi appear. This is like some human Jurassic Fucking Park. As he says this, the others sees behind him that there is a hologram of Richard Attenborough that appears to follow him around as he walks without him seeing it. Dick sees it and says, I think we have found him. Dick says Jurassic Park was dinosaurs, recreating the past. Bob glares at him and says that was the first ones. The story moved on with a case of military infection. The scientists are very similar to the office correspondents. The pair speak with firm logical reason to all they say, as if what they are doing is an obvious natural progression of mankind. They say nature develops itself. We are part of nature, are we not? we have been ethical. There has been no harm done, no pain, no discomfort, no distress here, we have done no harm to others. Bob says, really? No pain, no harm, what about those who were deformed? The scientists go on to explain, as they have already answered him in their previous statements, pointing to a big 3D screen presentation, that over the years they have perfected many things that have been used to remove pain from society. Egg removal from the fetus/children/babies. Nanotube and buckyball egg simulations. Graphene strengthened cell structures. Female-female fertilization and first egg division, cytoplast and blastoplast manipulation. 3D printed uterus systems for accelerated gestation. Synthetic genetic amniotic fluid to ensure first-month cell division of our mother cell structured scaffolding during embryogenesis, the prenatal development before the fetus exists as the first cell zygote undergoes mitotic divisions into a multicell embryo and blastula and inner blastocyst and onwards through the gastrulation process, which is independent of internal genetic cell structure towards a chi-focused system combination of blood, lymph and nervous system. Female or male is now not required for fetus creation as screened oocytes finally developed into evolving chi-focused beings that now regenerate themselves. Stimulated accelerated growth process based on the modified synthetic amniotic fluid. The natural amniotic fluid contains a considerable quantity of stem cells. These amniotic stem cells are pluripotent and able to differentiate into various tissues. These cells have demonstrated the ability to differentiate into a number of different cell types, including brain, liver and bone. It is possible to conserve the stem cells extracted from amniotic fluid in private stem cells banks. Some private companies have offered this service from circa 2000 for a fee. These stem cells will differentiate into all of the 200+ cell types contained in the human body and when stimulated for chi will create chi-focused creatures. In fact, under the right conditions, an individual stem cell can separate from the embryo and form an entirely new embryo resulting in identical twins and multiples thereof. Superclones. Advanced brain scan technology detecting brain fields. Chi learning for mind signals, very low energy electromagnetic detection. Since we created beings without male or female input, some of these GMO humans began showing an ability to reproduce without male sperm input directly by direct internal egg oocyte fusion, virgin self-insemination, parthenogenesis or hermaphrodite, following chi energy influence by the host being. A global MindNet network between members who use non-members to bounce thoughts through the network as any individual person's direct chi field has limited range. Advances in social grouping, especially that a large section on women are the best adapted to space travel, both physiologically and the female mind which is holistic, holding rather than forcing and solving problems in a communal family-based manner that is required is a space tightly enclosed community. Although male traits do appear in some women, especially those who have not opted for having children, even though this reproductive drive is considered a natural biological drive in many women as it is in men. Men are not required for reproduction other than the need for them being physically stronger, but that is not so important in a weightless environment which negates the physical strength, strongest, fittest, which is seen as the optimum requirement that has been the drive of the very basic animal aggressive strength of global development for thousands of years. Until now. Now we have forged the mental evolutionary pathway, based on the importance of enjoying basic priority needs first in order to support other higher self-realization needs. Dick says, did you know what I was thinking that without seeing any of the body language as he chortles? Bob says they are getting inside you already. Bob goes on, these genetic experiments have gone to an unhealthy level of manipulation, a good direction badly misplaced in the globalist corporate world that could have been used for the prosperity of society. Dick says EUGH, globalism is as corrupt as a Silk Road merchant selling Mama's snake oil to those who get mesmerized by the stories of magnificent mythological creatures. Dick continues, it seems they have overcome the social stagnation that the planet has been suffering from since the late 80s, that has used low intelligence group statistics to force control using false flag situations of minority distraction among many more nasty manipulations than that the current governments use. Bob says, I was going to say that. Dick says, yes, I know, I felt you. The scientists stare at them and listen, knowing that they have developed useful science. They then continue in a manner that implies perfect reason but is cranky and selfishly supporting their science research by saying the auntie funds us and has opened many doors for our research activities to advance humanity. They ask Bob if the company is really using it badly, as they don't see the results outside the walls, as they are based permanently in an ideal location with all the facilities they require, and that is like paradise compared to the polluted, dirty factory city complexes where they began. The scientists go on to say, all we know outside is the female antennas, the name we use for the product of this gene factory, which are holistic women's mind-based but can be woman or transgender or XY chromosome humans, are placed in the corporate places that were once taken by Jewish bankers who have controlled and monopolized financial positions in a neo-religious cartel. However, that activity is not based here but on the coastal complex. We are basically gene molders of DNA pottery. Bob says, isn't that a Nazi theme? The two scientists shrug their shoulders and say, we have never had any intention to create a dominant oppressing master race, but to create those who can live together in communal prosperity. They continue, the auntie thinks she is the Borg queen, center of her collective. She probably is. However, she has done it without chip implants. Dick quips she needs a bag of fries implanted up her ass, but she would probably enjoy that. The scientists looking at each other with deadpan faces and say, I think she prefers nuggets. Bob notices pictures of his girlfriends on a wall poster blacklist and feels they are close as he feels their voices inside his head. Bob says to Dick, that's it, let's finish the place, and to some of his soldiers, please help these two get to the ship and look after them well.